There we go. Okay. So we are going to talk, there are 3 useful ways to write equations. And you know 2 of them really well, and I don't know if you know this one. I think Nate taught this to you last year, and I may have taught it to you this year. I can't remember. Because I'm teaching things out of order now with this class, so it makes it hard for me to know whether I've taught you guys stuff or not. But that's just the way it is. But if I have, it's a good review. If I have, let me know. Okay. Okay, Will.
Okay, sorry, I'm collecting pens.
Oh, okay.
I'm just. Okay.
Saved by the hand. Okay. So anyways. Okay, but guys, do it fast because this is my class, right? My lecture. All right. Okay. Okay. So there's 3 useful ways to write equations. We know one of them. One is called the point slope, right? Point slope form, and everybody knows that, right?
Yep.
Which is what?
Y equals mx.
Is he right? Is he right? Y equals mx plus b. Why do they call this the? Oh wait, what am I saying? Slope intercept. Slope intercept. Sorry, I screwed up. I was thinking.
I guess I'll just fix it later.
The slope. We'll just cross it out and put slope intercept.
I tried to write over. This is mine.
So Will.
Sorry.
This is my lecture.
Sorry.
You got to be quiet, okay? Okay, slope intercept. Y equals mx plus. Why do they call this? Will, stop talking to him.
Bye.
I don't know where I'm going.
Okay. Why do they call this slope intercept?
Because there's a y-intercept.
Because like b goes up and then you got.
Because there's a slope and there's an intercept in that equation. What's the slope?
B.
No, M. Mountain slope. Mountain slope. Where's the y-intercept? Is it y or b?
B.
It's b. That's the y-intercept. That's where you plot that on the y-axis, if that's b, right? And then you'd use your slope, rise over run, right? That's why it's called slope intercept. Okay, there's also standard form, which is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are numbers, and the x and the y stay the same. But you have, notice with the standard form, you have the x and the y on the same side, right?
Yeah.
Many of you guys remember, I mean, I'm sure you've seen these because I've done a bunch of these, but last year when we did systems of equations, a lot of times they're written in this form, okay? And then the last one is what we're going to talk about today, which is point slope. And all we're really going to do is learn how to see the point and how to see the slope and where it is. That's it. And how to write it, how to see it, how to write it. If I give you a point and a slope and I ask you to write an equation, you'll know how to do it, right? So and this is the equation. Get rid of this so it's not messing everything up. Y minus y1 is equal to m parenthesis x minus x1. Most people don't learn this in Algebra 1. And I think it's a great crime because it's one of the most useful equations there are ways that they teach that are harder to solve to write an equation in. This makes it so easy. So easy, okay? So I am going to erase this mess and we're just going to focus on this. I'm going to rewrite it up here. So it's not y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. I've even heard that some high school teachers don't let their students use the point slope formula because it makes it too easy.
Then why are you teaching us it?
Because it's so easy.
Yeah, but
And
when
it's
we
worth
get to high school, and
very
like,
few-
don't use that.
Well,
Very
just not
few,
tell them.
very few teachers
Yeah.
will do that. I've only heard of one that does that, but I think it's ridiculous. When you have a method that works and you understand it, then you should be able to use it. You know what I mean? So, anyways, here we go. We've got this. Now let's understand this. If I wrote an equation, this is what it would be. This is how the equation would actually look. Y minus 2 is equal to 1/2 x minus 3. Okay, so there's an equation. This is the formula right here, right?
Yeah.
This is the actual, what you'll actually
The
see.
equation.
This is what it'll actually look like. This is an equation. All right, so the y1 is actually a number, and the x1 is actually a number, and the m is actually a number. Okay? What would you think m stands for?
A fraction.
Ooh, guys.
You're right, but what else? But
The
Minus.
answer.
what does m stand for in the other equation that you know? So
Oh,
y
x.
equals mx plus b.
Wait,
Slow.
Mountain slope.
I was
Exactly.
gonna say that.
Well, I couldn't tell. It didn't seem like you knew the answer. You should have raised your hand.
I-
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well, I knew you knew it. So I just wanted to see if I was giving other people a chance to say it. But yes, but it's the mountain slope, right? M in algebra is always, well, not, it doesn't, you know what? Whenever you're talking slope, they always use M.
Well, I thought you said something else.
Whenever you're talking slope, I'm a little worried, whatever I thought I said. But whenever they're talking M, they're talking slope, okay? Or whenever they're talking slope, they're talking M. They'll use M. But M doesn't always mean slope because it could be just like a random variable that they're using. But if you're talking about slope, and in this case it says point slope. So I know there's a point in here and I know there's a slope in here. That's my slope. So that's my slope. Slope is rise over run. So it's perfect. Now the point is this. This is the point. X sub 1, comma, y sub 1. That's the point. So
Oh.
so what is the point in this? This is my
3 and
x
2.
sub 1, and this is my y sub 1. And it looks like it's -3 and -2. Do you agree with me? That's what it looks like. Because that's it looks like a -3 and a -2. But look at the formula. See how there's a minus sign there?
Yeah.
The minus sign is in the formula. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So that means that if the point was 3, I mean if the x1 was +3, then you would just put the +3 after the negative sign. It would be, say, x minus 3. So really, the point is the opposite of what it looks like here, comma, the opposite of what it looks like here. Opposite meaning if it's negative, it's positive. If it's positive, it's negative. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that means this point is the opposite of -3, which is +3, comma, the y now, right? The opposite of -2, which is +2. Yes? Make sense? Okay, let's do a few. Let's just try a few. So y minus 7 is equal to 2 parentheses x plus 4. Okay.
And
So my point is the opposite of +4. What's the opposite of +4?
-4.
-4. So I'm going to write -4, comma, the opposite of -7. Remember, that's my x1. This is my y1. It's weird because you have the x's on the right and the y's on the left. That's not typical, right? But that's how this works. So opposite of +4 is -4. Opposite of -7 is +7. Okay, how about this one? Y plus 6 equals 1/2 x plus 10. What's my point?
wait.
-10.
Opposite of this, -10, comma, opposite of this, -6. You get it? Making
Yeah.
sense? Starting to see it? Let's just do a few more.
And what is that?
Just, what?
Generate that one.
I won't, yeah. So y plus 11 equals 2 times x minus 9. What's my point? Will.
It will be 9,
Okay.
comma, -11.
-11. Beautiful. Okay. Another one, y minus 5 is equal to m times x minus 4. Okay, what's my point? Max.
You don't know the A's.
I was gonna ask. 4, comma 5.
Beautiful. Awesome. What was your question?
For the homework, are you giving us the equation and then we're finding the point?
That's part of it. And then the other part is actually plugging them in. If I give you the points and the slope, then you write an equation. So in fact, I should do that really fast.
What does this do? Does this give us a point to put on the
It
graph?
gives you, right, if you had to, if I asked you to graph something like this, if you know the point, right, 9, negative 11, so if I have this graph, and I go over 9, say that's 9, down 11, negative 11, that point is right there, right? You agree with me?
That's what it says.
Right? And then my slope is 2 over 1. So I rise, does that make sense? Look, I plot that point, keep my marker there, and I rise 2 and I run 1. Rise 2, run 1, dot. Rise 2, run 1, dot. Rise 2, run 1, dot. Piece of cake. It's really easy to graph. Really easy to graph. Yeah.
So it's like the y and the x in the equation are like saying like x equals and y equals, sort of. Like it gives you it. And you
Yeah.
can make it
It's telling you an actual point. And I'm going to talk about this again tomorrow. It's really weird because an equation for the same line will look totally different if you have a different point. Each point gives you a totally different looking equation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's really weird. But if you solve it for y and put it in slope intercept, y equals mx plus b form, they're always exactly the same equation. Like of the same line, right? It's weird. I'll show you tomorrow that. But so now let me show you this last bit that you need to know how to do. If I said this, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. You want to memorize this formula? It really will help you. It really, really will. Now let's say I said write an equation of the line with slope of 2/3 and passes through point, sorry, I know this is long, point 2 comma negative 1. So write an equation of the line that has a slope of 2/3 and it passes through this point, 2 comma negative 1. Okay, so we got to remember our equation. It's y minus something equals m, right? M times x minus something. All right. This is my x. You guys agree with me? And it's positive. So I'm going to, the formula has the negative sign. So what would I put here? I would just put that number, 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because then it's negative 2,
And then
right?
wouldn't that be a
And then-
positive one? Though?
Yes, and then this would be negative 1, which basically turns
Yeah.
it into a +1. Does that make sense?
And you turn it back into
Right? And then you can always check. You can double check. Here's my slope. Whoop, I got to change my m to 2/3, right? And I can always double check it. I can say, okay, what is the opposite of negative 2? Is it positive 2? Yes. What's the opposite of positive 1? It would be negative 1. Perfect. We did it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you see how that works? The key is to realize the formula has the minus sign. That's why things are weird. But once you get it, it's going to be so helpful. And I'm going to show you more another day. How did this class get so short? I guess we went long.
I think it's because you added that like little worksheet thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think they went long. Okay, I'm going to, yes, question on this?
No, can we decorate our notepad